Hey, everybody. Welcome to this special edition of Scott's podcast series. I am delighted. I'm thrilled to have Mayor Lisa Gillmor of Santa Clara, California, come out on the pod. And we're going to start things off hot before we get to the 49ers and Al Guido and Jed York. The presidential debate happened on Thursday. I know that Mayor Gillmor has a relationship with Governor Gavin Newsom of California. Do you think, Mayor, that Governor Newsom should replace President Biden as a Democratic nominee of the President of the United States after the horrific performance by Biden on Thursday night's debate?
Wow, I thought we were going to start with a hot topic about Al Guido and the 49ers, but now you really surprised me, Scott. So, wow, I haven't finished watching the debate. I taped it. But I don't know if you know, but Governor Newsom was a proud graduate of Santa Clara University. Awesome. So he has a connection here in Santa Clara. Are they going to replace Biden with Governor Newsom? I don't know. I've heard that. That's floating around California. So you never know what's going to happen. I can't predict, but I guess in the next few days we'll figure out what the Democrats are thinking and who they think would be a suitable replacement.
Definitely, fair enough. And now we'll get into the details of why we're really having you on this pod. And as you know, I've been reporting on this case and completely on the city of Santa Clara's side of what's going on between the 49ers, Jed York, Al Guido, and the city of Santa Clara. Know the extent history. I've done the research and so forth, which we'll get into throughout the pod. But starting off with like the FIFA World Cup, and I just think it's unbelievable that Al Guido, president of the 49ers, negotiated a contract, brought the FIFA World Cup to Santa Clara, to Levi Stadium, which is obviously great PR for the city and so forth, but didn't make you aware that the city of Santa Clara is essentially on the hook for $38 million in costs to pay for the FIFA World Cup, the Fan Fest, the police escorts, etc., and didn't even make you aware of this in the contract negotiations. What is up with that? I think it's absolutely atrocious that as a partner, the 49ers having the stadium in Santa Clara, he can't even put you guys in the loop of what's going on in the contract negotiations. What's going on with that?
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there, Scott, for sure. I just want to say, first of all, I'm a soccer mom. My husband coaches soccer, so or football as the world calls it. I'm really excited to have World Cup come to Santa Clara. So I want to get that out of the way because I'm a super sports fan. People don't think that, but I really am. And I'm excited about that. I wrote a letter to FIFA back in, I think, 2017 that said, yes, if you're considering the United States, we have the public owns Levi Stadium. It's a Santa Clara owned facility. So we'd really like to have it come. So they had Al Guido signed contracts for the FIFA World Cup back in 2018, but he signed on behalf of the Stadium Authority, which is us, the public. He also signed on behalf of the Bay Area Host Committee, which is the committee that's formed. It's really a 49er organization committee that is formed to raise money for these events, right? So one of our initial observations with my previous city manager, who got fired shortly after that, was that that's a conflict of interest. You can't represent two organizations, the public organization and these money-making, raising organization. So we asked to see the documents. We've been asking to see these documents for several years, and we were not able to take a look at them. Finally, just this past year, the documents were made available because, as you said, we're on the hook. I say we're not on the hook. We didn't sign anything. The city hasn't agreed in writing to anything. But the documents were presented to us, but they were highly redacted. So I said, what? The redactions are the meat and potatoes of the contract. So what's the point, right? So then I got back, and the other council members, if you want to see these documents, we'll unredact them for you. But you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement where we can't talk about this for 2 years before the World Cup and 4 years after. So 6 years, I'm not going to be able to talk about it. needless to say, our two council members, Kathy Watanabe and I, didn't sign the non-disclosure agreement because we represent the public. And so I don't know what he attempted to obligate the stadium authority for, because I can't see what the numbers are. I can't see any of the agreements. I refuse to sign the non-disclosure agreement. But that's where we are right now, is that we're a year, well, we have Super Bowl too, a year and a half away from Super Bowl, 2 years away from World Cup. And I can't tell my public, what to expect. You mentioned 38 million. I don't know where that number came from. There's,
that was from the San Francisco Chronicle.
Yeah, a bunch of confidential stuff.
Right.
I think it's going to cost a lot more than 38 million in terms of, we have 6 games. Each game is like a Super Bowl.
Sure.
And we have Super Bowl too, but each game is like a Super Bowl. And there's a tremendous amount of public safety, just public safety alone, not counting other, volunteer management, all kinds of stuff. So there's a ton of money. I looked at like Canada and other places. They're saying it's going to be over 200 million for these types of services.
Wow.
So that was a long answer to your.
No, great answer. Great intel here for the public. So essentially, it's like Al Guido, Jed York of the 49ers ever been and be like, you know what, we want to be good partners. Let's discuss this. Let's be transparent of what's going to happen in the World Cup, the Super Bowl, other stadium events. Like, do they even communicate with you? Do they even communicate with the city of Santa Clara?
They communicate with 5 members of our city council. They call them the 49er 5. I don't know if you've read about that as well. They highly supported them with millions of dollars for their candidacies for the city council. So they do communicate regularly with them, and with our city manager and a city attorney who was hired by the 5. So they do have those regular communications. But I just wanted to contrast it a bit, because I was here when we hosted Super Bowl 50.
Sure.
I wasn't the mayor. I became the mayor shortly thereafter. I don't know if you remember, but the day after Super Bowl, our mayor resigned and walked away. And then I became the appointed mayor after that. But I was here for Super Bowl 50, and it was a completely different scenario. It was a competitive bid for Super Bowl 50. The public was involved. We put our bid together. The 49ers put the bid in with the city. We went jointly, to make the presentation. We had our government services agreement 3 years before Super Bowl that we had worked out that they were going to pay for our public safety costs and everything else. So we had the public involved at every step of the way. And it was just completely different. And that's what you're supposed to do. Involve your community, get people excited, get people to volunteer, but have our costs paid for by the Bay Area Host Committee. That's what happened then. This time, fast forward to now, it's completely secret, documents that are redacted. Public has no idea what's going on. There's meetings taking place, but I have no idea, what they're obligating. But I just keep saying that we have Measure J in Santa Clara, which was a measure passed by our community when the stadium was approved, that no public general fund city money can be used for anything for stadium operations. So I'm reminding them we're not spending any of our public money for stadium operations. So, but it does concern me that everything is, secret and not transparent at all. And usually when that's the case, we should be concerned.
No, absolutely. So essentially, I get the ability, and I read about Jed York too, and he obviously, he campaigned against you, your opponent. He raised $2.5 million,
and at the end of the day, it was about $7 million.
$7 million, and you still beat him. So kudos to you. So essentially, what Jed York and Al Guido, the top 49ers brass, basically wanted dictatorship, control the city of Santa Clara to make the revenue, to make their pockets a lot more green, instead of having a normal partnership like most NFL stadiums have with their cities that they work with.
Yeah, when I have an interesting position, because I wasn't on the city council when the stadium was approved, but I was the spokesperson for the campaign. So I worked with the 49ers, worked with my community. I really believed that it was going to be a positive, impact in so many ways for our community, not just financially, but community benefits in terms of community rooms and events at the stadium for the public and everything, everything that Jed York promised our community, virtually every promise was broken.
Wow.
After the ballot happened, the first thing they tried to do was go after our youth soccer park to take that away. We had to fight that like crazy. The community got together. We never got our community room. We haven't gotten our neighborhood protections during events. We haven't gotten the financial benefit that we should have, that we were, promised to get. But that at the same time, when they came to Santa Clara, their franchise was worth about $900 million. And now they're over $6 billion because of, mainly because of the stadium operations, sponsorships, everything else. So I'm happy they've done well, but we haven't. And I'm just proposing all the time, hey, I want what they promised. We need to get our financial benefits that were promised to us because we're carrying the heavy load. So fast forward to Super Bowl and World Cup. It's the city of Santa Clara. We're the smallest city in the NFL. And we have a small police force. We have small, we're just a medium-sized city. We can't handle these types of things without, certainly not in our budget, nor should we, because they have told us you will not make any money from the Super Bowl or World Cup. We didn't from Super Bowl 50, but we had other benefits, in the community. So it's time for us to get what we deserve as the public.
Absolutely, 100%. That's just mind-boggling that a guy like Jed York, you just said it right here, he bought $900 million in 2015. Now the team's worth $6 billion, and he's still greedy enough where he wants to screw his own city of Santa Clara over, where he has his NFL stadium. Absolutely appalling, absolutely horrific how Al Guido and Jed York think. Is it possible in any way, if this isn't sorted out, that the city of Santa Clara could pull their World Cup bid for 2026?
Well, I don't think that's something we want to do, but as far as, signing those documents for two entities, that is and I've been asking, and the previous city manager brought it up in the public about his conflicts of interest, signing those documents. You can't represent two agencies. And one of the 5 members of the 49-5 city council called a meeting to fire her shortly thereafter. So they did fire her, and they fired the city attorney that was holding them accountable. Here's the big issue is that they came into Santa Clara. We welcomed them. They made promises. We thought they were honest, an honest organization with honest owners, and we were wrong. They fooled us. There's a grand jury report that just came out, a couple lately, about how, they took advantage of this city that was, and that's partly our fault as well. I mean, I have to say it's partly our fault. We were not prepared for, the magnitude of a, unscrupulous owner and other things. We just weren't. But instead of doing the right thing for the community, and this would not even cost a lot of money to do the right thing for the community. Instead of doing that, what do? They spend millions getting city council members elected to do their bidding. Millions. For the first 2 years of these city council members' terms at city council, they had weekly meetings with them, 5 of them. They'd meet 3 and 2, so they wouldn't violate the Brown Act, which is still a violation, but they met like 60 times and, gave them instructions on what to do. And it's, they've spent over 20 million electing all of them.
Wow.
They've gotten hundreds of millions in return, decisions. So instead of doing the right thing, this is what they're doing. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong.
100%. So let's just reiterate this. Al Guido, using his power, president of the 49ers, president at the time of the Bay Area Sports Commission, to sign the deal in favor for the 49ers. Jed York literally spending $20 million to elect the council members he wants to be on the council to get initiatives passed. Tries to do that against Mayor Gillmor, fails miserably. Love that Mayor Gillmor proved Jed York wrong. And essentially is creating a dictatorship of controlling the city of Santa Clara to make his pocketbook just larger than $6 billion, what the 49ers are worth. Just ultimate, complete Great. Is there any way that this could change in the near future of having an absolute decency partnership where Santa Clara can benefit off of all the events that happen at Levi Stadium?
In November, we have 4 seats in our city council up for re-election. So if anything's going to change, now is the time to change and to get, honesty, ethics, and integrity back on our city council. Right now, our public is pretty disgusted with what's happening and the lack of ethics and integrity on our city council. So I'm hoping, this is a chance. I'm sure he's going to put more millions of dollars into this election coming up. But Santa Clara, is a lot more engaged since my election. I mean, there was, anyways, he hired Governor Newsom's political consultant to run the mayor's race in Santa Clara.
Wow.
Yeah, like ridiculous. We're a small community, so I think that we need to take it back and make it for the public. And Ann Killian wrote an article in 2022 that was really, really poignant. It was, welcome Santa Clara, you're now the company town. Yorkville, the company town. I don't want to see it that way. I was born and raised here. We have a wonderful city. We're really progressive. We own our own electric utility. We have a convention center. We thought we were doing something great, with the stadium, and it's brought nice concerts and events for people to go to. It's super expensive, but people love to go there, but they don't understand the drain that it's taking on Santa Clara. And we need to bring a better balance back in our community, and at least get council members that put Santa Clara first and not this NFL team.
100% agree with you. Definitely put Santa Clara first, and let's have a normalcy partnership. So definitely best of luck in that 2024 council member race. That'll make a huge difference in the future of Santa Clara. And we'll kind of end the podcast here and kind of talk about your personal initiatives as mayor. You've been for 2 years. I believe your term lasts till 2026, 4-year term. What's your ultimate vision for the city of Santa Clara, California, over the next 2 years?
Well, that's interesting because I'm termed out in 2.5 years. So I'm at the end of 2026. I've been mayor for 8.5 years now. So ever since Super Bowl 50, I put Santa Clara first in every way, shape, or form. And I want to make sure that we maintain our business environment, because we have companies here like NVIDIA and Intel and others that are on the cutting edge of artificial intelligence. And when we put our business climate first and our business owners first in our community, they give back. They're the ones that give back to our Santa Clara public in terms of public safety, parks, libraries, streets. Those are the kinds of things that I'm focused on, which is making a community that people want to live here, live, work, and play. And so that's really my focus, is making a live, work, play community for everyone here. It's an expensive place to live, but if it is, I want to make it the best place that you could possibly live in the world. So we have everything here. It's just that we need to focus back on our public and not on one particular organization.
Great. Well, Mayor Lisa Gillmor of Santa Clara, thank you so much for coming on our pod. We'll definitely stay in touch and keep focused on the developments of the FIFA World Cup, Super Bowl, and beyond. And appreciate you coming on. Wish you the best of luck, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for inviting me here. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.